Okay. Good morning to everyone joining us on our Zoom meeting and on Facebook Live this morning. I'm Lisa Hurley with York County Development Corporation, and you're joining our York County Community Sector briefing for the week. And I am not seeing Laura on, so we are going to go out of order. Laura, if you're logged on with a phone number, do you want to say something? Okay, well, we'll circle back to Laura when she is able to join us. And Jim, will you kick us off today?
Good morning, I'd be happy to, Lisa. I will do my best to fill in a few things that Laura typically talks about too. I wanted to just paint just do a little bit on COVID-19, not near as much as maybe we usually do, but just to give you a perspective of the world right now. We don't focus on that a whole lot, and this is as of Tuesday. The place that has the biggest outbreak in the world by far right now of COVID-19, and probably a lot of variants too, is India. They had these are the 4th to the 11th of May. There was 2.7 million cases, new cases in India, and they got a huge population, obviously, and that is compared, to put it in perspective, the Tuesday to Tuesday in the U.S. was 270,500. So that's 270,500 versus 2.7 million. So that's a big, it's a huge outbreak there. Just to say it's not coming down, the cases in that part of the world like they are in the U.S. And Nebraska is seeing about, they're hovering around the 1,400 cases per week. Right now there were 1,430 on that Tuesday to Tuesday time period. Currently there's 130 hospitalizations in Nebraska for COVID-19, and that would have been compared to a week ago somewhere in, I'm looking right on the website right now, the 142 the week before. So they're staying in that 120 to 140 range typically. As far as vaccinations overall at a state level, and this is off the DHHS website this morning too, 50.4% of those individuals over 16 are vaccinated fully in the state of Nebraska, and 8.3% partially. So again, that means if all we were to do is second doses on those eligible for second doses, you can add those two numbers together to get the fully vaccinated over 16, and that would be 58.7. So that's if all those second dose, or all those eligible for second doses get the second doses. And in our Four Corners Health District, that same number was 43.59%. And we are holding a vaccine clinic. York General is out at the Holtis, and those are getting smaller in numbers too, because it's mostly second doses. And we have, we're scheduled to have 153 second doses administered today, and between 10 and 15 first doses. And so our plans are, I believe it's by the 27th, we would hold our first, yeah, I'd be right. The 27th is 2 Thursdays from now, would hold our first vaccine clinic back at the Westview building site, and away from Holtis, just purely for numbers. And then after that, a few weeks after that, we're probably just going to be in our shot clinic, our normal shot clinic, just up the hall in the Westview building as well, close to home health there. And so that's what that looks like on some of the COVID-19 items. Just for total doses that we've delivered before today's clinic, we have administered 6,554 doses, of which there's 3,471 first and 3,083 second doses. And what that compares to, according to the last update on the Four Corners website, is York County overall has administered 9,281. I'm sorry, 9,821. I'm not dyslexic. That was just a turnaround in my mind. So, and the overall health district is has administered over 32,137 doses, according to the Four Corners website this morning. And so a lot of activity continuing to grow there. We've been down in our testing activity for COVID, just having 17 tests over this last week and had 2 positive results is all. And as of yesterday, we still had 1 COVID inpatient. And usually we have 1 or none. And it's kind of, so like 1 week we have 1 and next week we don't. But we currently had 1 as of yesterday, still for COVID-19. So other updates that I think a lot of that, Lisa, is what Laura probably would have gone over too. We're definitely in the whole district transitioning to more of a maintenance type phase, if you will, from the mass vaccinations and getting the second doses done, and then offering kind of appointments and walk-in clinics in the weeks ahead, just across the whole district. Really, even we're the same as what Seward and David City, and I believe Henderson too, is they're all experiencing the same thing. The other things going on, the York General Medical Plaza is really taking shape. If you've driven by there, even the letters on the front of the building are up and the big signs up. If things hold true to form on one major component that we get our aluminum frame doors in, which they're very hard to get when they're custom made, and we're expecting that to be delivered tomorrow, or to be available to be picked up actually from Kansas City, where it's manufactured, tomorrow. If that doesn't happen, everything else I'm going to tell you changes, because our schedule hinges off to that they take it to Lincoln to get everything attached to that door frame, and then they bring it out over the weekend and begin to install that final component on our building. And it looks like then we would be doing some final cleanup that week, and hopefully by the week of the 21st or so, we'd be late in the week of the 21st, we should be ready to have that final clean and begin to be, the next step would be certificate of occupancy and things like that. So we're expecting maybe around the 26th or so that could be done. So around the Memorial Day timeframe, if all that again holds true, then expect to see more about an open house around the 10th of June, sometime around there, and then maybe opening up the clinic itself by mid-June. So that's where, keeping our fingers crossed on the door frames and everything, but that's where we're at today. So it looks like Thomas is on for Four Corners now. So Thomas, I did my best to give a vaccine kind of update for you too. But
no, that's
right
fine.
back
I
over
literally
again,
got a phone call from Laura down in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, she's on.
She's supposed to be off eating beignets and crawfish right now.
All right, take it away, Thomas.
So, so I guess one of the big things, let's see here. I can give updated numbers as of yesterday. I haven't pulled everything exactly for today. But I mean, if we're looking at vaccinations and everything, Four Corners as a whole, we've had over 32,000 vaccines go out. Keep in mind that's first and second doses and things like that. If we look at York County right now, we're sitting at about just a little under 35% of our total population fully vaccinated. That means either both doses or the Johnson & Johnson. They're set and ready to go. We as a jurisdiction, we're right about that same thing. When we look at all 4 counties, we're at about 35% almost for people getting fully vaccinated. I mean, we've seen a good slowdown and everything, and so our game is changing a little bit, of moving from these large community clinics to more of we're working to get it into some of these primary care places that we can. I know York Medical Clinic has started working with more directly with their patients and everything, of trying to get urgent care on board to be able to give vaccinations, just all sorts of other things. The big thing that we're going to be having that's coming real soon, though, is we have actually ordered up some Pfizer vaccine, and it should be getting here. I don't know if it's going to be getting here this week or or very early next week. So we'll have that in the jurisdiction and in the county and everything to be able to start giving those out. I think officially we're waiting for standing orders to change from the state to be able to include down to those 12-year-olds, because Pfizer has been approved federally for it. The fun thing that I discovered about this is that if it's a entity that's getting their vaccinations directly from the feds, so that would be our Walmarts, Walgreens, stuff like that, they don't technically have to wait for the state standing orders to change. So there is a possibility that they may be willing to do it. They may want to wait as well. I don't know, but that we're expecting that to come through pretty soon to allow us to start vaccinating school-age kids and anybody who wants it for that. I know there's a lot of folks who like to do sports physicals first thing after they get out of school, because then it gets them covered for the next school year, as well as any camps or anything like that they're going to do. As far as cases, I don't have a county breakdown because I was still pulling all of that stuff, but we had 22 cases this last week. We had a pretty decent amount coming out of York County at the beginning of the week. That's kind of tapered off, and more or less holding steady in that respect. Other than that, I'm not entirely sure what Laura gives on the briefings anymore, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions that folks have or anything like that.
I think you covered it, Tom, between you and Jim. I think we're good. Does anyone else from the healthcare sector have anything they want to report? Okay. Well, if you have questions, feel free to type them into the chat, or we can answer them at the end. So we will move on to the education sector. And Mitch, why don't you start us?
Thanks, Lisa. Good morning, everybody. Just real quick, for our COVID numbers they're great, to be real honest with you. I was just looking here just to make sure I had accurate numbers, and as we speak, only a few days left. We don't have any quarantines or isolations, so we're at 0. So that's a great number, considering everything that's gone on. So yeah, our hope is we finish the school year here with just a few days left, and my hope is I don't get any emails from Four Corners changing those numbers. So, but if we do, we do. We have a process in place. It works well. Our safety plan has been huge for us, and so again, I always appreciate our Board of Education and our team that came together all the way back last June. Moving on, graduation is here this Sunday. We chose to keep some restrictions in place, and so each there's 10 family members, family friends that can come with the graduates, and by the time we wanted our band there, we wanted our choir there, we wanted all those traditional things we wanted this year. And by the time a person allows 10 per graduate, we're still talking 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 people, and so that's a big number, and we felt comfortable doing that versus just opening it wide open. Over the years, I've always been a little bit surprised as I was standing up there, as the principal, going through names, and I would look out there, and I would see all kinds of people that I was kind of surprised that they would just stop in and see graduation. And so this year we wanted to, I suppose, prevent that, but we felt like 10 was a really a big number, for each graduate. So we've had good feedback on that, and we're going to move forward, and that'll be a great day. I am glad I put some notes here. The weather, it's interesting. This year we've had a lot of requests of, hey, Mitch, go back outside. That it used to be that way, for graduation. And I tell you, I've said no immediately, and it's because of Sunday. I know of 2 schools that I'll mention. One is Norris, and Norris has they have 3 or 4 plans and they still can't pick one of them. And theirs is Sunday, or at least it's supposed to be Sunday, or could be Saturday, depending on the rain and stuff. And we're just not going to do that. So we feel good about going into the city auditorium where the environment is predictable. So we'll be good with that. Summer wise, just as quickly, some summer projects that we're looking forward to is if you've been in our theater here lately, you'll notice that we have probably 80% of our lights are shot. They're not working, and those are the house lights above the seats. And that is because those are still the original from 1974. There's a lot of them. So that's a pretty big budget item for us. And so we have been prepping for that. And so now they don't even make the bulbs. And so there's nothing we could do. And other than this summer, that is a project for us. And so we'll transition to all LED, some energy savings, bulbs, those type of things. The last thing I just want to report on is a really exciting one for us is if you're familiar with the high school at all is, when we did the remodel, we were able to switch over a large percentage of the building to a geothermal HVAC system. But there are some major portions like the theater and the gym and the cafeteria and hallways that are still on an older system. And when we did that remodel, they studied those systems and they felt like they still had about another 10 years of life to them. And so the board at the time decided to leave those to save some money on the bond. And well, we're right about that 10 years, believe it or not. And so very fortunate, the relief funds that are now coming to schools was perfect timing for us. And so our board decided to use those relief funds to replace that old chiller and boiler. And so on the east side of the school, there's that old ugly gray chiller that's been sitting out there since 1974 that leaks and is not very efficient. Here in a few days, the school's going to get out, and around June 1st, that's going to start to be removed, and so on. And so the nice thing for our community is it'll all be relief funds. And so we're not going to have to, for that project, we're not going to have to mess with, any levy adjustment, those type of things. So I think that's exciting. I think that's a really wise decision on our Board of Education because ultimately it's probably going to be around about a $1.5 million project, in 2 phases, and all of it will be relief funds. So I think that's a good thing. So that's what I have on my list of updates today. Thanks. And as always, reach out if you have questions.
Thank you, Mitch. Do we have any other educators on the call that want to report today? Okay, before we move on, for those on Facebook, I'm going to repeat the question that came in via chat. Four Corners said urgent care might be doing vaccines, and they asked the ETA. And Tom replied, and Tom, please feel free to jump in if you want, but that he does not have an ETA at this time. Urgent care is discussing if they want to be a site, and once they make that decision, they'll need to apply through the CDC. So probably not anytime before June.
Yeah, unfortunately, especially with the COVID vaccine, it's not something where people can just automatically become an admin site. They do have to go through a process with the CDC to become approved. That process has been expedited a whole bunch now as to months ago, but it is still a process they need to go through. Otherwise, the only other alternative is it would require us to have staff on site at urgent care at all times while they're doing their vaccinations with COVID, and that's not entirely practical for us. So.
Thank you very much, Tom. And now we will move on to the local government sector. Barry, it's your turn.
Good morning. Couple weeks ago, when the last time we met, we were having a council meeting to appoint a new city administrator, and I'm pleased to say that Dr. Sue Crawford is progressing into her second week of being city administrator. So really happy to have Dr. Crawford aboard, and hopefully most of you will meet her over the next weeks and be working with her on different projects. So that's a real positive, and glad to do that. With that being said, we're still we're putting a hard focus on filling a couple other positions at the city. Mostly on the public works side is where our focus is, and we are still looking at trying to get some arranged thing, but it's been tough to find people, and so that's our focus. So we're trying to get fully staffed at the city. The auditorium punch list, Michaela said, is down to just a few items, so that building is just about getting done, and then we'll have to assess what anything else that we're going to need to do there. So we'll be looking into that. And the community center, we're still waiting for some numbers on some things that we found, and I might have touched on that we found some steel beams that had corroded and done some things that no one knew about until they cut into part of the ceiling. So we are going to have some expense over where that budget is, but once we get hard numbers, we'll take it to our building committee and the council for that approval. But we want to keep moving along with that. But with that, getting steel is not an easy thing right now, so they're working on that also. Couple of things that make it feel like summer's coming. I think they were working on the outdoor pool, and they're starting to fill the outdoor aquatic center pool for that to get going. So that's kind of a neat thing going. And I know the ball fields are hosting tournaments, and there's been activity out there. So those are good to see. And probably the biggest thing that we have going on at this city right now is we're going to have some strategic planning next week, and then start our budget process pretty early with our first meeting the end of May, to kind of get into that and find out where we're at. And so that all of you that work on budgets and do things know the time that gets spent on that. And so that's kind of going to be our big job here over the next couple of months. So with that, everything else seems to be going well, and we have lots of things to do. So everybody have a great day.
Thank you, Barry. Do we have any other communities that want to report? Okay, so we will move on to the faith communities and nonprofit. I know a few of you are on here. Does anyone want to talk about anything right now? Then I will move on to business sector. I'll start, and then we'll let Madonna wrap it up. This is Economic Development Week, so YCDC has been celebrating that along with the communities. We've had some training, and we're just trying to get out on social media and other avenues, stuff that YCDC does for our community. I do have some save the dates and opportunities coming up. The first one is along with York Public Schools and the Nebraska Extension, in the partnerships and assistance from the York Chamber, we have our ESI camp in July. We do still have some openings for some kids, and that would be middle school kids. So if you have a kid, a student that's interested in creating, making, running a business, this is a great opportunity for them to get involved in. Just call Derek here at YCDC. The number is 402-362-3333. It's a great opportunity, and the kids usually learn a lot and have a good time. And on June 24th in the evening at 5:30, we have a Grow Your Business with Early Childcare. That's being held by the York County Child Care Alliance and sponsored by YCDC. We really want to get business owners in the room with the child care providers that is one of our barriers to workforce. We do not have enough spots. Many of you have been in discussions with me regarding this, but mark your dates, mark your calendars for June 24th. Will be an evening event, and Mike Feakin from First 5 Nebraska will be coming in for that. Then in July, on the 21st, is the Nebraska Pork Expo. It's being held out at the Holthus Convention Center. There are room for vendors that would like to be there. And also, if you just want to attend and learn more about what the pork industry, the impact it has on Nebraska, it's being held here this year. And then as a reminder, please keep sharing. York County has jobs. We have all levels, all skill sets, and we need people. We need people in their jobs. So if you know somebody looking, there's no shortage of resources. They can reach out to YCDC. They can go to the York News Times on their website. There's a directory there, or in the paper. There's Indeed. There's a whole lot of sources, but we really need some key positions filled, so our businesses can operate at their normal hours. And that's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Madonna, but before she starts, I want everybody to have a great weekend. Madonna.
Thank you, Lisa. I will echo that we do have a lot of jobs, and we hear this from our employers a lot. So definitely reach out to Lisa or myself. We'll be happy to connect you with those that are looking for employees of all skill sets. I want to first thank so many of our chamber ambassadors, young professionals, and other businesses throughout the community who have volunteered 600 plus hours since the end of February, assisting York General and Four Corners throughout the mass vaccination clinic process. Without you, this could not have happened. So we really, really appreciate all of the effort that people have just really given of their time for this huge, huge community process. So thank you very much. And just to highlight a few things that we have coming up, we're very, very excited to just be seeing signs of normalcy. Firecracker Frenzy is our community celebration of our independence. And what a great year it's going to be this year, our independence from many, many things. So we always have fundraising efforts taking place. So definitely reach out to us if you feel compelled to assist with that. And also later this summer, in connection with ESI Camp, we will be having balloon days with our sidewalk sales. There's a lot of other fun things going on throughout balloon days. There will be some tethered balloon hot air balloon rides. And also some of the individuals connected with the Peyton Parker Lane Playground have reached out for assistance to our office, and we are thrilled to be able to help them with a fundraising project that will take place during balloon days. So be watching for that, and we really hope for your support for this large community, another large community project. Have a great weekend, everyone.
That's all we have, unless somebody else on the call wants to say anything. So like Madonna said, like I said, have a great weekend. We congratulations to all the graduates that are going through at the different schools around the county, and we will see you in 2 weeks.